Hello beautiful creative friends, it's Belinda and today I'm here to share the last of my Christmas in July layouts for this year. Once again I am using the Rosie's Studio All Wrapped Up collection. I am thrilled to be working as a guest crafter for Rosie's Studio with this collection this year. And although this is my last project for Christmas in July, definitely stay tuned to my channel because I will have more to share using this collection later in the year as it is going to go into my December album for 2023. There is also a discount code which Rosie's Studio have made available to my subscribers. You'll find that down in the description box below, as well as just a few of the little terms and conditions. So it is good through till the end of December 2023. So you've still got a little bit of time if you're not quite ready to pull the trigger on a Christmas collection, so long as it is still in stock, of course. So for this layout today, I am creating a layout to photo the Santa photo that my kids had taken last year in 2022. I have a collection of these photos and sort of half prepared layouts, but I have been really stuck when it came to a design, and I felt inspired. And so I thought I would get stuck in with the photo from last year. It is printed in black and white, and I have done that with all of the Santa photos that I'm scrapping because it just, the color scheme changed from year to year, and it just helps to keep things a little bit consistent. So that Santa visit cut file that you can see there, that's just something that I made up myself in Silhouette Studio using just a bubbly sort of font, and I have backed it using a patterned paper from that collection. Now I've got my white cardstock, and it took me a little while. You don't see it off camera, but I do rub that circle out and try again. I'm just using my compass there to draw a circle, and then I've taken it over to my sewing machine and I've used some gold thread, and I've gone around, I think I went around about 10 times. I just want it to be really messy and to provide the base. So this is going to be a circular wreath shaped layout, and that stitching there just helps to provide the base for the wreath upon which I'm going to put all of my embellishments. Now I am doing my usual trick, which is matting my white cardstock background onto some patterned paper, and then I've taken it over to my sewing machine and I have stitched around the border. I'm also showing you here that off camera I prepared a pocket for my journaling because I definitely wanted to add some journaling to these. And I have printed out that journaling. I've also made these little 3D stars. I've seen these popping up in a few different places on Instagram, and I really like the way that they looked. I've also made a couple of these bows, but to be honest, I'm not actually sure if they make it onto the final layout or not. Those 3D stars I made myself. I know you can get dies for them and potentially even a paper punch, but I just made them myself. I used a nested star die cut stars from some of the patterned papers, and then what you do is you just fold the star from each point to the middle. So you'll be folding it 5 times, and then you pinch the whole thing together to give it that 3-dimensional look. It does mean that if you want to retain the 3-dimensional look that you need to add some foam adhesive underneath, but that's totally fine, and I do that with my stars. So I've created the little date there onto this. It was a label, and the sentiment that was printed on the label isn't something that I was likely to use, but I really liked the color of it. So I did make a little bit of a mistake there. I've typed out 2023, which is clearly this year's date, but this photo was taken in 2022. So at some point I'm going to have to go back and fix that up. But I'm just prepping the pocket now. So the pocket is going to sit behind the photo. What you can see there at the bottom of the pocket is you can see some stitching just in a straight line towards the bottom of the pocket. And the reason I added that is that I've made my tag with my journaling to be roughly the same size as the actual pocket, and I used an envelope punch board to create that. But I didn't want the tag to get lost and fall down into that pocket. So adding the stitching there just helps to provide a little bit of a shelf to make sure that the journaling tag isn't going to fall too far down into that pocket. And because it's hidden behind the photo, you do not even see it. So that was the easiest way that I knew how to get that effect happening. Now I'm going to start placing all of my embellishments around the wreath. So I have got these stars in a few different patterns and a couple of different sizes. I'm just kind of moving them around to get a little bit of balance. I don't want to have two of the same patterns up against each other. I don't really want to have two of the same size up against each other if I can avoid it. So I am going to spend a little bit of time just fussing around, trying to get them where I would like them to be. I had got a rough idea of placement, which is why I've got my phone down in the bottom of the screen there. But when I originally placed them, I hadn't put my photo and my title on. So I did have to shift them around a little bit to make room for those. And then I went through the ephemera packs. There is loads and loads and loads of ephemera in these Rosie's Studio collections. So I went through the ephemera pack and I just pulled out some of the smaller pieces. The paper ephemera is what I'm working with now. And I'm just filling in some of the gaps there with those little smaller pieces. I've got some little gifts, some candy canes, some little circle pieces, and I'm filling them in with those bits and pieces first, and then I'm going to come in with the bows. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure I do get some of these bows onto this layout, so all was not lost in the creation of those bows. So then I'm just sort of working backwards. So my stars were by far the biggest piece, so those are the bits that went down first. Then I've taken the next largest embellishments, and now I'm coming in with these smaller, they're just little floral pieces. This was from the floral ephemera pack. And then I've got some little stars. So I went from biggest to smallest, and I'm just filling in the gaps. Now, I don't make you watch me adhering all of these down. I am going to do that off camera and jump back in a minute with them all adhered down. I did have to put some foam adhesive underneath all of those stars just to prevent them from collapsing once it's popped into a page protector. But there they are now, all stuck down, mostly in the places that you saw me putting them down in the video, but some of them did move a little bit just as I was working with it. Now, those stars do add a bit of dimension, and in some spaces my photo does overlap, so I'm using my trusty roll of gigantic foam tape to add some dimension to the back of this journaling pocket and my photo. This gigantic roll of foam tape comes from Bunnings, which is a local hardware store here in Australia. I spend a little bit more to get the acid-free version, but even that is only about $16 a roll the last time I purchased it. But it is a little bit tricky to get the backing off because it is super, super, super sticky. So I'm going to use my T-square ruler to line it up just to make sure that it is centered and to make sure that it's straight. I know this isn't a particularly linear layout, but I do still want to make sure, because that is the only piece on the layout that has got straight edges. I do want to make sure that it is lined up nicely so it doesn't annoy me having it crooked or off center. Now, for that die cut title, the Santa Visit title, I'm only adding foam to the bottom of it. I had put some foam pieces down, which you just watched me tearing up again because they weren't thick enough. I've got dimensional adhesive in varying sizes and varying depths. And I had put some quite thin foam pieces behind, but because I've got the photo lifted up on to foam tape, and then the cardstock for the pocket, and then the journaling card, it is quite a lot of dimension. So I've come back in with some thicker foam, and I'm only adding it to the bottom of that title because the top is going to sit on top of the photo. And I'm just going to nestle that in there nicely. You can see that I've added the date over the top of the word visit. That would seem to be the only really logical place for it. And then I'm going to finish off by sprinkling some even smaller little bits around the wreath. I'm starting off with these little puffy stickers. Lots of really cute little icons there. There's some candy canes. There's some little circle peppermint, I'm not quite sure, peppermint candies. Then I'm grabbing some of the little asterisks or the stars from the puffy title sticker sheet. And then I'll finish off with some of the enamel shapes. They are enamel shapes. And again, I'm just looking for balance of colors and balance of pieces as I'm working around the wreath. So once I have finished with the enamel dots, the enamel shapes, that will be it for this layout. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing this layout come together. If you have, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. It really does help me to grow my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and I do hope that you will go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can join me on my upcoming paper crafting adventures. If you have been around for a while, thank you, as always, for all of your support. So I will leave it there for now. There are some close-up photos coming in just a moment. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.